Okay.
Gushing. You always do something embarrassing. Hi guys, it's Ricki and Cryssy, and I'm
gonna finish your story.
Going, yeah. Can I finish it?
Just like I could in another video.
So, back to the sign language before we talk about that portfolio. The teacher's like, you should know most of the stuff, and I was telling them, never touch a semester, I don't know anything about it. So he's like, okay, I'm gonna make this easier for you.
She's really passionate about this too, because she's shaking. Your leg going.
So he's like, I'm gonna make this easier for you. I'm gonna open up the first semester, right? And he said, I need you to work on this first. And I needed an 80 to pass because I failed the first semester. Now,
was you a D?
I was an F, a 0% F in sign language. Then it went to a 15. And I had a B when it went up to a 15. So
wait, can I say one thing?
What?
When you at an A, there's nowhere but down. A plus, like you gotta make sure you stay at that. You take one quiz, you mess up. Say you get a 75 or 85%. You
it goes
B.
low.
That's how it was in that school. You a B, and I'd be like, wow, but, A plus.
So when he told me, before he opened that, I'm mixing things up. Before he opened up the first semester, he told me if I got a B on the second semester, they would just pass me along on that because that means I would have got I don't know what that would make for the first semester, but he said he made a
adjustment on there.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay. Then they end up opening this first semester because I didn't know anything about it like that. Now I took sign language before, but they only taught us a little bit back when I was in 9th grade. And I had completely forgotten about it.
Because you was on, this is the thing. She only took sign language, I think. You got sign language, then you got sign language A, then you got sign language B. Those are the 3 ones that you take. And the first sign language is so easy. But you was on the last one, B. So it was like a doing a lot.
Yes. And so they opened up that first semester, and I'm like, wow, they're teaching me how to sign all these words. So this is making it easier for me to complete the second semester. And I'm doing the homework, and the teacher's like, you're doing so good. And I'm like, I really thought I was doing trash, honestly. I thought I was going to fail everything I sent them because I didn't really know what I was doing. So what she's talking about the portfolio is we needed 2 students to communicate with each other. But since everything happened in 2020, there's no student that I had to communicate with. So I had to do it on my own. I had to be 2 people. And I was like, as a teacher, I said, do you mind if my sister does it with me? And she said, it doesn't matter. 2 people are communicating as long as she knows how to sign. So I'm like, okay. She couldn't figure out how to sign in the right way. I'm getting irritated.
Yeah, I can tell.
She couldn't figure out
that's not my
how to
fault.
sign in the right order. And I'm like, you're mixing it up. And she's like, I'm sorry, laughing because she's nervous.
Imagine you done with school for already a year now.
2 years.
2 years, and then somebody's trying to force you to sign, and you're like, I can't understand it. Then they get mad because you can't. Like, she was going like, all that. I'm like, hold up, slow it down. What's that?
Because you can't sign really slow when I'm supposed to be communicating.
Wasn't it supposed to be the microwave is on fire, I need help?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can say it, I can't sign it.
So I ended up saying, just go upstairs and just leave me alone so I could finish this. And I did it. The teacher was like, you did amazing. She said I was like one of the best students. I said, wow. Because I thought I was doing so trash. And then she tells me the last portfolio I sent in, you didn't really have to communicate with somebody else. You could have just did a one-sided conversation. Why did she tell me that? Because do you know how many words I had to look up in sign language to make sure I was signing correctly? If I still have the footage, I'll put that in there. If I don't, I might just sign something still and put it in there. If I'm sloppy, I don't care. I'm going to show y'all. I'm going to show you something that they had, like I had to do for...
Or what you do is, or make a whole video of you doing the sign thing. Just do a whole nother video.
I mean, I could. But... I was just so irritated because I'm like, why didn't you tell me that? So the last day of the school year, I said, I'm going to finish like a couple weeks before. Nope. I was still working on sign language. I was so proud of myself. I had gotten an A in both semesters. And they said I only needed a B for the second semester. But since she opened up the first one, I said, I'm going to work my butt off and get this up. So my sign language was an A. I had an A in consumers math. I had an A in English. I think I had a C in history. History was annoying. The teacher was a jerk. Like, she was very, very rude. She barely taught us anything.
Don't even get me talking on history.
I never liked my history teachers. Like, I'm not going to disrespect you, but learn how to teach us. Because that's the issue with them. And they're very cocky and they don't even know anything.
This is the thing. I can't even say what I want to say on YouTube about history. But it's hard because...
And they can't admit when they're wrong. Like, she tried to teach us something and she was completely wrong. And a couple of students was pointing it out.
I was taking government something, or it was something government. And the teacher... And I'm in, like, I think 12th grade. And she's so heated at me because she's like, you're doing everything by the rubric. And in our school, the rubric meant, like, they tell you what to do and you do it. And I'm on the phone with her like, ain't that what I'm supposed to do? Like, she said, you're going too by the rubric. What?
And it doesn't make any sense.
So then I sent her in a portfolio. And it was like 4 pages or something. And mind you, my English teacher was sad to see me go because he said that I did so good in the portfolio. And it was I had a male one and a female English teacher. And they said I was very good. And I had I think an A plus in that, or it was an A. It was one of those, still A. So I'm doing the class and she's like, she calls me on her portfolio out there and she's like, this seems like 5th grade level writing. This and that isn't right. This don't everything misspelled. And I'm like, misspelled. Misspelled, but I even went to my English teacher to make sure everything was correct on there. And she said she would have...
Mr. Manda.
No, that was another thing.
Because the year before that,
because she felt me on a box
question.
Was
it her or was it somebody else?
It was still her. So in the portfolio, she told me that, I'm not gonna lie, when I was in school and stuff, I was a crybaby. I cried because I was like, dang, like, I know I'm not dumb, but like...
But pretty much, I think anybody would cry because she was trying to literally sit there and call her. 5th grade level and I'm in the 12th like
grade.
She didn't understand
so
nothing.
I cried. My mom like, what wrong? I'm like, this teacher basically saying I'm dumb. I'm at 5th grade level. That's the fridge if you hear
freezer.
Something. I can never get it right. So then she's like, your reading level's at blah, blah. I think mom told her off.
I think she said your reading level was at a 5th grade level.
Yeah, and I was like...
That's very disrespectful.
And I'm just like this. Who is you to say that? And
baby, you're not even an English teacher. You were for history.
The thing is, she would ask me certain questions, and everybody knew me. Like, if I knew it wasn't real, I'm not going to write about it. I'm going to write about the real stuff. So then she'd be like, that's not what that was. That's not real. And I'd be like, actually it is. What you have in that book right there, that's actually false. Would give her the facts. She'd be like, that's still not real. Then I would even do the portfolio the right way because I'm like, I need my grade. She'd be like, you did it too by the rubric. She got on my nerves.
It's always a history teacher that's a jerk. It's always. Every history teacher I've had, they always gave me a problem. No other teacher but history. Now, one time, I was very bad at math when I was a kid because I didn't care about it. So I passed one of my math tests, and the teacher is like, did you cheat on your math test? I was like, no, I actually studied for once. So she calls me on the phone and she does her little student checkup. Well, when we were younger, you up until a certain grade, which I think was like
10th, I think.
No,
it was 9th.
They stopped it at 9th. School. They will call you every month and do a student checkup, which means she has to call you on the phone. Every teacher had to do it, mind you. They had to call you on the phone. You had to be on the phone for an hour. If it was English, you had to read for a minute straight. See how many words you could read.
I would do good on that each time.
If it was math, they had to ask you math questions on the phone. If it was science questions. History, you had to tell them the history. So the math teacher, she calls me and she talks to mom. The mom gives me the phone and she's asking me math questions and I'm actually getting them right. And then there was one I struggled on because I didn't know everything, of course. So she's like, okay. And she was like, did you cheat on your test? I'm like, no, I was studying for it. And she was like, I don't believe that you actually passed that test on your own. I said, what? And she's like, I don't think you passed that test on your own. You probably cheated. So at this point, I'm getting irritated.
You basically calling somebody stupid when you do that.
She called me stupid without saying I'm stupid, but she was calling me stupid.
Remember, Mom used to say the teachers would always talk with that nice mean.
Yes.
Like they say it nicely, but it's mean stuff that's nice. And I'm just like,
And she was just so rude. And after that, I started getting better grades on my math, and it was just like she just kept thinking I was cheating, and I was just like, you know what, I'm over it.
This thing, how you gonna tell somebody they're cheating and you can't even prove it?
Right. Maybe I'm actually learning from you and I'm paying attention.
Like
maybe
with our
it's
school,
that.
right? They would assume everybody's cheating. Like I remember one time.
Can I tell them what they do though?
Sure, go
Real
ahead.
quick. Anything you send in, your teacher's looking it up on Google. So if they find a sentence that fits that one sentence that somebody wrote online about, like say you looked up a question and they see their response online, they're gonna link it to there and they're gonna say, "Oh, this is where you got it from and you cheated."
Let me give a question real quick. This is how it is. If Billy had 5 apples and he gave Tom 3, how much would he have left? And this is a box question. You'd be like, "Oh, Billy would have only 2 apples left." They would look that up, and if somebody wrote that, they'd be like, "This is where I got this from. It seemed like you cheated on that because you wrote the same sentence." And I'm like, anybody that's smart would just write that. So then it's like you gotta try to write better than other people so they don't try to say you cheated. Because then if you, and then this thing, people will have questions like if you, this is the thing, if you cheated on a box question, they're gonna find out. That's it. They're gonna find out.
Because I mean, unless you reword it.
Yeah,
right.
If you but this is the thing. A lot of people didn't reword; they just copy and paste.
That's true. Well, I guess that's it.
See ya.